Hello everyone, welcome to What If Naruto Was in Rwby movie. Before we start, please go support marioiale for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Naruto is a male. Chapter 1. 15-year-old Rwby Rose has black hair tipped with red, a slender and athletic figure. She wore a black and red outfit consisting of a red cape, a corset, a blouse, a frilled skirt, black stockings, and boots. With a belt with large cartridges and a magazine pouch for her transforming weapon that was currently in its compact form attached to her back, Crescent Rose. It was a high-impact sniper rifle that is capable of a large scythe that is easily larger than her. As he was finishing his annual visit to his mother's grave, he noticed something out of the ordinary. It wasn't the lack of grim activity, that happens sometimes, no. It was the sudden darkness that took over his surroundings, as if something was blocking the sun. There, in the great open sky, a giant rip was forming, slowly spreading out, getting wider and wider until it was as wide as a giant lake. Then, as if one giant hole wasn't enough, something giant was falling through the rip, descending rapidly, falling, and as it hit the ground, there was a resounding boom so loud and powerful it made her stumble and fall on her butt. Though through all of this, she remained calm. Oh my God! What the hell is going on? Yeah, perfectly calm. While she wasn't going crazy, the giant thing was shrinking. It continued to do so until it was the size of a tall teenager, which is exactly what it is, or rather, he is. He was 6 feet 3 inches tall, with long, spiky, sunny side-up blonde hair, strange red eyes that each have 3 concentric circles, each with 3 comma-shaped symbols in them, a toned body, and a peach-colored complexion. He also has 3 whisker marks on each cheek, 2 long, straight horns on his forehead, and 10 silver foxtails behind him, as a reminder of his friend. He wore a black outfit with lines along his arms and legs in a circular shape across his chest, a white robe with long sleeves and a design similar to his eyes on the back, and open-toed sandals. He was Naruto Uzumaki, 17 years old, former Jinchuriki of all tailed beasts, and current badass god, albeit mortal. But he's still badass. Gah! Buck, that hurt! Naruto cursed, holding his throbbing head. Maybe he should train his eye skills before using them? Maybe after he settled into this new place. Swear jar! Rwby screamed, but then went wide-eyed and flustered when the man looked at her. It wasn't her fault that her instinct to shout swear jar was triggered by a stranger, one she'd only ever seen and one who looks terrifyingly powerful. Garbage cans, she was going to die. Without even becoming huntswoman first, too. That was the second worst way to die. Right next to dying from CMDS, or cookie and milk deprivation syndrome. That was the cruelest death she could think of. Wait, what was she thinking in the first place? Hey! You there? T-place. Right, that. Well, he thought, time to start running for my life. And he did, pretty fast too, thanks to his semblance of speed. Too busy fearing for her life, she didn't notice Naruto, the man's name, flying towards her. Hey, can you say it? Hey! Stop running! He began, only causing Rwby to rub even faster, which was saying something. Which wasn't a good idea on her part, because that made him more determined to catch her. He was lost, in need of directions, and stubborn. So yeah? Aya! You're chasing me? How can you chase me? Why are you chasing me? Rwby screamed, shocked by the fact that the horned man was able to chase her at full speed. I was just going to ask for directions. Naruto shouted over the winds. Seriously, it wasn't like he was going to hurt her. Why are you running? You fell from a rip in the sky, caused an earthquake, and made a giant crater in the ground. Are you asking me why I'm running away from you? She asked, shouted a little rudely. Maybe I shouldn't spend so much time with my friends. I'm starting to recognize their bad habits. She thought absent-mindedly as she ran in place. What? Before you kill me, can I at least have one request? She said defeatedly. She may be dying sooner than planned, but she refuses to die without her family hearing one last I love you from her. Kill you? Didn't you hear what I said a few moments ago? I was just going to ask for directions, sheesh. If this continues, I'll be painted as an evil god or something," Naruto said, slight irritation in his tone. Honestly. First, she scolded him for his way of speaking. Second, she ran away from him when she was just asking for help. And lastly, she was implying that he was a murder-happy person. That was just plain rude. "Are you just asking for help?" Rwby asked a little demurely. She nodded. "Wait. You're a god. Isn't it obvious?" "Oh, right, different dimension. Yes, I'm a god. See the horns and eyes? Those are signs of divinity in my dimension." "Those are divine symbols?" She got a nod in response. "Are you from another dimension?" Even with all the fear she felt a few moments ago, she was a little excited and dazzled-eyed. A dimension hopper? That was so cool. Duh, that rip in the sky a few moments ago was a portal. Wasn't that obvious enough? He thought everyone knew a rip in the air was the sign of a portal opening from another dimension. A god from another dimension. That's cool, Rwby muttered to herself, until she realized something. Wait, if you're a god, then why are you here? Don't you have some divine duties or something? And which god are you? Naruto sat down and patted the ground next to him. Why don't we sit down? With only a slight hesitation, he sat down. Those are good questions actually, some require quite a bit of time. So why don't we start over? My name is Naruto Uzumaki, 17 years old, mortal god of life and death, time and space, nature, animals, chakra, ninjutsu, nishu, peace, weapons, and spirits. However, he didn't know why he was given the domains of life and death and weapons. A god of weapons. That's amazing! What kind do you often use? Do you use transforming weapons? That would be so cool if it was. Can I see it? She rambled on and on, only stopping when she noticed his deadpan stare. With a sheepish look she stopped rambling and introduced herself. Sorry. Anyways, I'm Ruby Rose, I'm 15 years old and I'm a huntress in training. Hey, you didn't answer why you're here. She pointed out with a frown, read, pout, an adorable pout. Well, there can't be two gods of the same title in the same place, right? Look, we gods, at least those of my place, seek our own place. Because the place I come from is like a crossroads, where no matter what happens, you'll always meet at least one god every century. I myself met 5 different gods, a descendant of 3 and an heir of 2. He boasted. What? It wasn't often he boasted about his heritage and lineage. Besides, there were a couple more he didn't mention. When more than 2 gods meet, there's always conflict. Long story short, we avoid staying in our own dimension to prevent its destruction. So, you ask? Yeah, how about the fact that no one will come here to investigate the place? That? How about a general illusion? Okay. But how can you be a mortal god? He stood up and offered a hand. I am not eternal. I age like you, but I am invulnerable nonetheless. It's because when I die, I will shed my mortality and become a true immortal. Next? What are you going to do now? That's a good question, actually. I'm going to enjoy my life while helping others, maybe interfere with fate a few times, and definitely hunt them down. Before Rwby could ask who they are, Naruto continued. But right now, I'm going to find the purest soul, join them, and maybe give them a gift, just for the hell of it. Tie yourself up? So this is where my spirit goes, not my world. Any more questions? Where are you going to stay? I don't really know. But anywhere is good, because I have no problem sleeping on any surface, you know. I can always sleep in a 4-. Why don't you stay with me? Rwby blurted out without thinking. After all, her father told her to help those in need, and a homeless foreigner is a needy person. What? Really? I mean, that's very kind of you and all, but you don't suspect me? At all? Shock and a bit of disbelief were lacing her tone. Here he was, practically a complete stranger, and yet she offered him a place to stay. No, not really. Maybe at first, but you're a good person, I can feel it. Besides, you need help and I can help you, so why not? You are truly beautiful, did you know that? She sputtered and blushed, and moved to interrupt him, but he wasn't finished yet. He knelt and continued. The moment I landed in this world, I felt every being in it. And among the myriad lights, you are the brightest that shines, the purest, the only one I can trust with my will and life. So, Ruby Rose, will you do me the honor of joining you, of being your life partner, your pillar, and you mine? He was about to say it was too quick to be chosen like that they had just met, that it sounded too much like a marriage proposal, but his heart was beating like crazy. And if there was one thing his mother said he valued most, it was following his heart. And he still remembers what his father said about love. Love takes time sometimes, and sometimes it's sudden. You can't know how you'll fall in love or why you'll love them. But you can always sense who your other will be, so be patient. You never know, he or she, I won't judge, could be right around the corner. Whoa! I was just asking what a crush is. Wait, who's in love with who? My friend said someone has a crush on me, she murmured. Who is it? Gah! I don't know. Look! Zwei is chewing the couch. So he refrained from saying no. If I say yes, will you support me until the end? Through high and low, he replied. Be my pillar of strength when I need it? I will never falter. Always be there for me. I'll never leave you. Do you love me? He asked in a low voice. He smiled tenderly. At least she knows this is a lifelong bond. Forever and ever. Do you love me now? I don't want this to be without love. I'm falling more in love with you as we speak. The sincerity in his tone made her blush. Are you ever planning on using me? Are you using me now? I would rather be immortal and die. Can you prove that? Instead of answering, he took her hands. Then she felt him, his honesty, his happiness, and his growing love for her. And then she saw his past, his joy, his anger, his sadness, his loyalty, she saw it all. Being trusted so explicitly felt so good and warm. She presented her hand to him. Put a ring on it. He chuckled. Gladly. His hands shone brightly, enough to make her close her eyes. It shone so brightly, it ended so quickly. And then she saw it, an elegant gold band carved with strange but beautiful symbols, and a rose-shaped ruby. Hee, a rose made of ruby. Jan will love the irony, and Dad he'll have a heart attack. What are we going to tell my family? She panicked. Everything. I know you trust them, and that's enough for me. What if they don't agree? He suddenly worried. I mean, I know I practically rushed into it, but I can feel that you're my soulmate, so I'm not going to break our bond. Then we will facilitate them. And if dash. Shut up, darling. She blushed. We're going to get through this together, okay? So don't get all worked up, okay? It's okay, dear. She got a wider smile from him, which, in turn, made her blush grow. After a few moments of comfortable silence, he asked, So, what do you want? Huh? The wish? Yes. Anything besides reincarnating your mother. Wait, why not? She asked, not sad or disappointed, just surprised. She thought it was a little immoral to wake up those who were sleeping. I was going to do it, or rather, my clone is already doing it, for you and for her, because she was still on the mortal plane, lying in her grave, not deceased. So yes, I gave her another chance. My mom heard everything? Oh gee, that was a little embarrassing. No, she's resting now. She'll be fine in a few, able to walk and talk. So wish? Give me my first kiss. He was going to ask her if she was sure that he would do it anyway, but he knew she was sure that she wasn't a materialistic girl, that she was sure of her choice. And so, he kissed her, joining their lips so tenderly, caressing her face like the most precious being she is. They were conveying their feelings for each other, no matter how recent they had been. They didn't care, they understood each other on a completely different level, trusting each other with their lives knowing it would be a treasure. And only the need for air separated their soft, tender kiss of lips. I know it's too soon to say this, but I love you. His beautiful crimson rose said with the prettiest blush he'd ever seen that turned his brain to mush. It's never too early for love, she thought. I love you too. Her bright sunshine said with a genuine smile that made her stomach jump. DAW! How sweet! A voice suddenly squealed. Wait until they find out about this. Gah! Mom! Mom! Moem? Rwby said, first embarrassed, then confused, and finally surprised. Are you okay? Already? There stood her mother in her white cloak, looking her actual age, as if she had just gone on vacation instead of died. While she still looked beautiful, her face hadn't changed much. Your soulmate, Summer Rose said in a teasing tone that made her daughter blush once again. Did a great job making me a new body. I mean, look at me. It's like I never died, she said as she examined her body. She then turned to Naruto and bowed her head to him. I don't know how to thank you, my lord. This is a great opportunity, to have the chance to live once more. Please just call me Naruto, you're my mother-in-law now, she said in a jovial tone. That's a good point. Then you'll have to call me Mom, or at least Summer. She got a smile and a nod in response. Now come on you two, let's go home. We have two blondes waiting for us. And while we're at it, why don't you tell me and my little Rose more about yourself? Rwby looked expectant after Summer suggested that to Naruto. Knowing more about her future husband was always good. Sure. Why not? After all, they were his new family now, and he knew he was with good people. Look, back then, when I was a kid. That's how her story began, how the silver-eyed girl met her godly companion. Chapter 2. So hey, this is my first entry in Rwby and I's shared journal. Look, Summer suggested this idea to us, Rwby and me, and I thought it was sweet, and Rwby thought so too, so yeah. Also, it's been a couple of months since our first meeting. Anyway, I'm here to write about what happened when we got home. Feels good to say that sentence. I'll cut the story short. We got home, Taeyang, Rwby's dad, and Yang, Rwby's sister, almost had a heart attack, cried a little, noticed me, told me what I am, what my new relationship with them is, almost strangled me, and then we told the story to the blondie and the blonde girl. Needless to say, the first week was weirder actually, because it's still weird but in a good way. But I digress, everyone has their own quirks, Yang and Taeyang's bad jokes and puns, that lady who looked just like Madara, color scheme and all, she even has red eyes. Raven, I think, being very stiff and sarcastic, that Raven guy being a drunk, Rwby's fascination with guns, and I guess my fascination with the color orange. Speaking of weapons, Rwby had this idea from an anime, I think it was Spirit Consumer, where I would fuse with her weapon. Crazy, but it works. Anyway, off we go to Beacon. Well, technically it was just Rwby and Yang, but yeah. It was because she helped stop a robbery last week, and my wife was amazing. Oh yeah, we got married. It was a small wedding, just us and her family, and our honeymoon isn't even planned for another couple of months. Also, it was apparently a family tradition for the women in her family not to lose their last name, but we did separate our last names. Anyway, we were on our way to Beacon. Are you ready? Is everything ready? Did you forget anything at home? Do you have everything you need? Naruto asked Rwby through their bond as the two approached the Bullhead, a VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing, tilt jet plane, which would take them to Beacon, a prestigious hunter academy and one of the most famous in Remnant. Yes, no and yes. Don't be so worried, dear, I have this in the bag, she replied. After a few weeks of knowing her life partner, who now possessed Crescent Rose, she was now used to intimate gestures, such as pet names, kisses, and hugs. No more than that though, but that was completely fine with both of them, Rwby because she thought it was best if they waited a couple of months, and Naruto because he was happy to wait for Rwby to be ready and was also quite happy with their current pace. Let's move on to another topic. Where were you last night? He asked with a bit of heat lacing his tone. Excuse me, but this is where. Naruto paused, looking at a piece of paper before looking back at the white-skinned woman, who raised a delicate eyebrow in interest. The Queen of Grimm and the Pale Goddess live? No fear? Interesting. You stand in his presence, human. Now speak your mind before I kill you for trespassing on my lands. So you're them? Wow, you're like that. She expected praise for her beauty, her presence, or her power. Instead, all she got was disappointing. You dare mock me, human? Don't you know who I am? She was outraged now. I am Salem, the goddess of the grim, queen of those who lurk in the darkness, the dash. She was interrupted in the middle of her speech by the human. My mother, hell, my grandma was scarier than you, and she was a gambling drunk. They're also the most beautiful women back home, and there were plenty of beauties back home. Plus, I knew a real goddess before, more powerful, more terrifying, and dare I admit it, more beautiful than some women I've known. I mean, you are beautiful in your own exotic way, but what am I saying? I'm a married man. But I digress, I'm not here to discuss your divinity. Despite all his anger, he was curious. Why are you here then? He didn't get the answer he was looking for. Instead, all he got was a flash of something bright. Remember what I said earlier about hunting down some bad guys personally? Yeah, that's why I got home late last night. He decided to tell her half the truth. Oh, well, good work then, dear, she said, knowing he was hiding something from her, but she knew he was only doing that to protect her. Where are you, Yang? She muttered to herself, unaware of the blonde predator who was about to pounce on her. Ga? Rwby! What are you doing here? Her attacker let go of her and took a step back, revealing that it was her sister, Yang. Let me guess, you were probably sad because Yang and I didn't get to hang out for a couple of years, huh? Huh! Yang nudged her sister with a smirk. Yang has long, messy golden yellow hair, lavender eyes, pale white skin, a toned and curvy figure, and wears a tan top with gold trim with black puff sleeves and cuffs and a low-cut yellow crop top with her symbol on her left breast, an orange scarf around her neck, fingerless gloves with her currently inactive shooting gauntlets, and Berselica. Around her wrist, black shorts with a brown belt around it, and a pouch attached to the belt, a symmetrical white skirt in her back, and brown boots with orange tights if they are different lengths with a bandana wrapped around her left boot. Damn it, Yang! Rwby playfully shoved her sister. Stop doing that! Naruto says hi anyway. Is he here? Yang asked, looking for her second favorite blonde, the first being her father. She got a nod from her sister. Where is he, then? Rwby just pouted. Weapon. Aren't you going to ask why I'm here? Oh, yeah? Why are you here? Then he leaned in and whispered in a playfully accusatory tone. You didn't mean to barge in, did you? What are you talking about? Of course not! Rwby shouted indignantly, unaware of Yang's playful tone. Before she could hit her sister for accusing her of such things, her conscience, Naruto, reminded her to tell Yang about her accomplishment, causing her to stop, blink, and then puff out her chest with pride. I was invited by Professor Ojpin himself after I helped stop a robbery. She hugged Rwby once more, although a little tighter this time, just a little. Oh, I'm so proud of my little sister. Ga! Yang, you're strangling me. Let me go. When he was free, he noticed a large amount of weapons. Oh my God! Look at that, it has a collapsible staff. Oh, look at that girl. She has a fire sword. Is that an EMP blasting sword? Quiet town, geez. You're going to make Crescent Rose jealous. Looking at Rwby's scythe in its compact form, she bowed conspiratorially. Or was that your intention all along? When Rwby blushed and sputtered, Yang laughed out loud. JG's. I was just joking. Anyway, instead of looking for weapons, why don't you find a new friend to hang out with? Why would I do that? I mean, I have you here with me. Me too. Naruto chimed in. Yeah, you too. Rwby had to suppress a smile at that, and a blush too. Her husband was annoyingly sweet sometimes. Yang was then surrounded by a group of people, who were her, Yang's, friends, as Rwby noticed. Well, my friends are here and we need to catch up, so I'll leave you to what it's worth, okay, bye. Yang snapped when she and her friends were already a couple of feet away. Wait, where are you going? Are we supposed to go to our dorms? Where are our idiots? Do we have dorms? Gah, I'm so confused. Help me here. Okay, no, you don't have dorms, at least not yet. You'll have to go to the amphitheater first. And also? Yeah? Luggage, at 6, Naruto tried to warn her, but she was a little dizzy from looking around. What? was all he could say before hitting something and falling to the ground. What do you think you're doing? An angry voice asked, whose owner was standing next to Rwby. She was a girl a few years older than Rwby, with pale complexion, snow-white hair tied back in an off-center, right slanted ponytail, icy blue eyes with a scar running down her right side. She wore a pale blue bolero jacket that has a snowflake design on the back over a thigh-length dress with a combat skirt, a necklace, along with a pair of thin rectangular earrings, mid-calf wedge boots with a heel, and a small pouch attached to the back of her dress. Was it mentioned that she seemed downright angry with Rwby? No? Well, she is. Very much so. Sorry. Rwby quickly apologized, stood up, and tried to help the girl's servants clean up the mess. Sorry? Do you have any idea how much damage you could have caused? Okay, this is pissing me off, Naruto told Rwby. Leave her alone, it's my fault anyway, Rwby replied to her husband, as she picked up a box of dust that she was about to put back in the cart, but the girl snatched it away. Give me that! This is dust, mined and refined from the Schnee quarry, the girl said in a haughty tone, opening the case to reveal vials of sparkling dust. I can see that dash, Rwby started, but the girl interrupted her before she could finish. What are you, brain dead? The girl asked, seemingly dead to Rwby's words, as she pulled a red vial out of the box and waved it in front of Rwby's face. Dust! Fire, lightning, water, energy! I know what dash. Rwby coughed at the dust floating in the air and on her face, causing her to inhale it. I hope that's not bad for your lungs, Naruto told Rwby, concern evident in his voice. Oh wait, the girl is still rambling. Are you listening to me at all? Is any of this sinking in? What do you have to say for yourself? Due to the unnecessary shaking of the powder vial, more powder particles flew through the air and entered Rwby's nose, causing her to sneeze uncontrollably, which caused a reaction from the powder, which, in turn, caused a myriad of explosions right in front of the white-haired girl. PFFF, HMHM, ha 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 ha. Naruto laughed so hard that Rwby could feel it vibrate against her back, sending a shiver down her spine. While that was happening, the vial the white-haired girl was holding flew up and landed in front of another girl her age. The girl in question has long, wavy hair that is as dark as the veil of darkness, a light olive complexion that complements her yellow eyes, and a slender body. She wore a large black bow over her head, a black buttoned vest with skirts, a white sleeveless undershirt that exposes her stomach with white shorts connected to her shirt, a separate scarf-like necklace around her neck, black on both arms with a detached sleeve on her right arm and a silver band on her left wrist. Black stockings with a purple gradient at the end, low-heeled black boots, with her gun on her back. He picked up the vial and suddenly frowned when he noticed the Schnee Dust Company logo on the side as he was reading a book, and looked towards the scene, where the white-haired girl, who is now covered in soot, was going from. Amazing! This is exactly the kind of thing I was talking about! The girl shouted angrily as she proceeded to dust herself off. I'm really sorry! Rwby apologized, embarrassed, but the other girl continued hitting her, increasing her embarrassment. Don't you know who I am? I'm Dash. Before she could continue her rant, she was interrupted by the girl wearing the ribbon. Wise Schnee, heiress to the Schnee Dust Company, she began, causing the now introduced Weiss to puff out her chest. One of the largest producers of energy propellant in the world. Finally, proper recognition, Weiss said smugly. The same company infamous for its controversial workforce and questionable business partners, ever since your father took over. The black-haired girl finished. Looks like someone doesn't like Schnee, Naruto thought to himself. Why how dare you? The nerve of... Ugh! The girl screamed, but gave in the end, tired of dealing with them, and decided to leave. Rwby turned to the black-haired girl. So what's... Only to find her walking away. Your name? She sighed and slumped to the ground. Why was it so hard to make friends? Hey, lift your chin, dear. I'm sure you'll make new friends soon. After all, no one could resist my wife's charm. What would she do without her husband? Thank you, dear. I don't know what I would do without you, she told him. Did you notice that guy? Naruto said in an amused voice. Huh? And there, in front of her, was the guy Naruto mentioned. He was tall, blonde, and had dark blue eyes. He wore a black hoodie with a white chest plate and shoulder plates, wrist-length brown gloves with exposed fingertips and small metal plates, dark blue pants with a white patch on his left knee, a sword in a scabbard strapped to his waist, and black shoes. Hey, my name is John Ark. The now introduced John said to Rwby, helping her stand up. Ah, thank you. She stood up, dusted herself off, and faced yellow. I'm Rwby Rose Uzumaki. Are you half vacuum? He asked, just for the sake of starting a conversation. No, why did you ask? Confused, she was about to ask him a question. Well, that last name you said. He spoke. That's my husband's last name, she explained. Huh, that sounds a bit hollow. It's probably in this world. I went to that place, some parts of it looked like home. At least probably the hidden sand. Really? We haven't talked about that, have we? Rwby asked, not noticing John's surprised face. No. Do you want to hear a story about that later after you and John find the amphitheater? Oh, sorry for distracting you. It was only because of that John snapped out of his own stupor. It's nothing. He was about to ask her about her marriage, but decided against it. It might seem rude. Damn, that's when I can cross off as a flirt. Oh well, there's always that white-haired girl, she looked really hot. It's okay, I get puzzled sometimes too. Anyway, do you know where we should be waiting? She nodded. I think we should go to the amphitheater. Do you know where it is? John asked as they started walking. Don't you? Rwby asked back. Ah, well. Then, and only then, did they realize there were no more people around. Oh shit. Rwby! This way! I saved you a seat! A voice yelled, causing Rwby to turn her head and see a familiar blonde. Young! A look of relief washed over her nervous face as she saw her sister. Come on, John, let's go say hi to my sister! She said excitedly, walking towards her sister while dragging a surprised John by his hood, unbeknownst to him. Hi Rubes, where have you been? Lost thanks to you, she snapped. Are you lost? Why didn't you use Crescent Moon's GPS? The way the mysterious blonde emphasized those words seemed odd to John, but he didn't care enough to say anything about it. Hello, my name is John Ark, short, sweet, tongue-in-cheek, and the ladies love it. Trying and failing to be suave, John wasn't paid much attention. Yeah, I'm Yang, nice to meet you too, jailbait, she said distractedly. Then she gave Rwby a questioning look. So? Why didn't you? Seriously, why didn't you ask me? Naruto asked curiously. He spluttered before trying to hide his embarrassment with fake anger. Did you know what happened after you left? I exploded. Good save. Naruto laughed. Thanks. I thought the same thing too. Rwby told Naruto. Wow, have you collapsed already? Yang let out a worried exclamation upon hearing those words. No, I literally blew a hole in front of the school. There was a fire. And I think some ice too. Rwby was practically panting now. After hearing those words, Yang's worried expression turned into one of scrutiny. Are you being sarcastic? No one is paying attention to me. Such was the sad existence of a John Ark. Wish. Rwby scoffed and went into a full-on, girlish rant. I mean, right after you left me, I tripped over some girl's luggage, said girl yelled at me, I got powder on my face and nose, caused an explosion, and then I dash. Yang interrupted before her sister could get flustered. It's okay, G. Calm down and breathe. Rwby did as instructed. Are you okay? Fine. So, did you make any friends? Before Rwby could respond, she noticed something, or rather, someone behind Yang. Oh my god, it's her! She said, pointing at the young shni. You! Weiss exclaimed, pointing at Rwby. Oh my god! You really exploded! Yang said in mock surprise, though behind that was irritation with the girl, the shni, for making her sister explode. Then she turned to the white-haired girl. Are you following my sister? Following her? Hardly. I'm just here to remind that clumsy girl that the Schnee Dust Company is not responsible for any damage caused to her or her belongings, Weiss said as she threw a pamphlet in Rwby's face. What's this? Rwby took the paper and looked at it. Dust for fools and other unsuitable individuals? Hey! I know everything I need to know about dust. Oh, really? So I guess a knowledgeable person would blow dust in someone's face? Weiss asked mockingly. Oh, a zinger contest. I love this stuff. Naruto said excitedly, Okay Rubes, copy me word for word. And she did. Oh yeah? Well, I guess a knowledgeable person would wave a vial of powder in front of someone's face like a rattle, huh? This made Weiss blush and flinch in indignation. It may have been her imagination, but Yang could have sworn she heard a loud zing from the background. Before things could escalate any further, Yang tried to end things. Okay, calm down you two, you're causing a scene. And they did. The students around them could be heard laughing or snickering, causing both Rwby and Weiss to turn red in embarrassment, though a glare from Yang caused them to turn around. She faced the two embarrassed teens once more and said, Are you two quiet now? Good. Now why don't you reintroduce yourselves? I'm sure you got off on the wrong foot. Great idea! The teenage Rose said, wanting to defuse the situation, which somehow prompted. Hey Weiss, it's Rwby! Wanna hang out? We can go shopping! School supplies? Yeah! We can paint our nails, try on clothes, and talk about cute boys. Tall, blonde, and scruffy, Weiss says sarcastically, pointing her thumb behind her, unknowingly pointing at John. Wow, really? Rwby asked, hope shining through her eyes, but faltered when Weiss's kind smile turned into a glare. No, she said clearly and turned to leave. Don't worry about her, sister, I'm sure you'll make new friends soon, Yang told her dejected-looking sister. You think? I know, Yang said before someone finally took the stage. It took them long enough. Now hush, they're finally here. There on the stage were two people. One was a blonde woman wearing a white blouse, a black pencil skirt, and a strange cape, while holding a riding crop. The other was a tall, lanky man with messy gray hair, which contrasted with his black eyebrows. He wore a dark green suit, a green scarf with a silver cross on the front, and dark glasses that didn't cover his eyes. These two were Glinda Goodwitch and Ashbin, Beacon's teacher and headmaster, respectively. I'll be brief. Ashbin began distractedly, looking, but not quite, at Rwby. You have traveled here today seeking knowledge to hone your craft and acquire new skills, and when you are finished, you plan to dedicate your life to the protection of the people. But I look among you, and all I see is wasted energy, in need of purpose, direction. You assume that knowledge will free you from this, but your time in this school will prove that knowledge can only take you so far. It is up to you to take the first step. As the students whispered among themselves in reaction to Ashbin's speech, Glinda approached to speak. You will gather in the ballroom tonight. Tomorrow your initiation begins. Be prepared. You are dismissed. Why can't speeches at our school be that short? Rwby pouted. That wasn't fair. Back at Signal Academy, she was sure her principal and teachers were trying to bore them to death. Who cares? We're at Beacon now, Yang exclaimed, before looking at Rwby. You do look extra excited though. So what's up with that? Rwby looked around before answering. Naruto said he would leave in a few hours with good news and a surprise for us. That's nice of her. Only a few months old and she's spoiling you and us rotten. Yang sighed. Man, you really hit the jackpot, huh? Wouldn't you be cool with sharing with your sister? She teased. Naruto may be a near-perfect choice, but she wasn't really interested in boys. YYNG. Chapter 3. Hello, Diary. This is my first entry, and I don't really know how to write on these things. But anyways, I'm at Beacon now. And I made a new friend, John. And an enemy from what Yang said. But Naruto said I still haven't convinced Weiss to be my friend, so there's that. And there's also that mysterious cool girl, Blake. She seems too quiet though. It's a little hard to make friends with people older than me. It's not fair that my friends from Patch are still at Signal Academy while I'm at Beacon, and when they get here, everything will be weird and strange. But Uncle Crow always said that life isn't fair, also something about an innkeeper's daughter forcing him to take responsibility. I don't know. I'm going to persevere through it all. With my sister by my side and my husband at my back, there's nothing I can't do. Done, Rwby said, closing the journal and stuffing it into her locker, unaware of her sister reading over her shoulder. Of course, said sister was about to hit Rwby. That's so sweet of you, sis. And glomp she did. Ga Yang! Get off! And you don't know the meaning of privacy? Rwby gave Yang a look, an adorable one. Privacy? What's that? Yang asked Rwby in mock astonishment. Before Rwby could make an angry comment, Yang spun around, looked toward her locker, and continued. Anyway, aren't you excited about the initiation? Wait, initiation? What initiation? Rwby questioned. Where did you hear that? I think we should work on a sign. Do you think we should work on our sign? Yeah, I thought so too. So dash. A passing orange quickly said to his black-haired companion. From her. Anyway, are you excited or what? Yang asked Rwby as she finished her outfit. Or what? Rwby replied awkwardly, not because of her sister, but because of her uncertainty. Then, her mind drifted to a topic that had been bothering her since morning. Where's Naruto? What's taking him so long? She thought. Seeing her sister's worried, constipated face, Yang decided to distract her. Hey Rubes, isn't that your friend? Jake? Joe? Jack? Ha jailbait. That's it. Her name is John, be nice. The crimson girl glared at her sister, causing Yang to bite the side of her cheek to keep her from lunging at her sister. Rwby, unaware of her sister's thoughts, turned to the blonde who was muttering. Hey John! Good morning! What are you doing? Oh, hey Rwby, I'm just looking for my locker. He then proceeded to look around and mutter to himself. I swear it was around here somewhere. Well, good luck on your locker hunt, jailbait. Come on, Rubes, come on, initiation will begin soon. Just after she spoke, an announcement sounded, calling all first years to the location where the test would be held. And that's our cue. Rwby said goodbye to her friend. Goodbye, John. Yeah, bye. John replied depressedly, then proceeded to sulk and whisper to himself. I feel so lonely. Due to her defeated attitude, she didn't notice why she talking excitedly to a tall, Amazonian-looking redhead with a strange gleam in her eyes, while said redhead responded awkwardly. See? I told you! That shny girl is trying to seduce that tall Amazon. You think I should sleep with one eye open? Huh? Run? The excited orange girl asked her companion. Said Orangette was the short one, with turquoise eyes and pale skin. She wore a black vest with a collar that ended at her waist and had a hammer with a lightning bolt symbol on the back. Underneath the vest were 2 layers of red and blue clothing. She also wore a sleeveless white blouse that had a heart-shaped hole between the neckline and her collarbone, with a separate white sleeve on each arm with matching fingerless gloves on each hand. To complete her outfit, she wore a mid-thigh length pink skirt with a white bow on the back, pink and white shoes with pink laces that have the same symbol as the back of her vest on the soles, and armor that starts at the middle of her shoulder and neck and ends at her waist. Maybe, but I think we should go. Come on, Nora. The boy, Rin, said to the now named Nora. Rin, as is her full name, has pale pink eyes and long ebony hair tied back in a ponytail with a magenta part on the left side. She wore a dark green, diagonally buttoned, long-sleeved tailcoat, red inside with black and gold trim that runs down the right side of her torso and forms a black collar and pink cuffs. Okay. I'm coming, Ren. But not that kind of coming, because we're in public, and we're not, you know, a couple. But I'm not saying you're not cute or anything, because you are, but it would be super weird because we've been friends for so long. Nora chattered on and on, getting the occasional murmur of agreement or a grunt of, well, disagreement. Beacon Cliff, a place overlooking the Emerald Forest, where the current initiation was taking place. Near the edge of the cliff, students can be seen standing on platforms as they look down at Ashbin and Glinda, who were watching the entire spectacle. For years, all of you have been training to become warriors who protect our land from the creatures of Grimm, which will be extinct decades later, thanks to a strange god. Ashbin thought idly to himself before continuing. And today, in that canopy of trees, he said, pointing in the direction of the forest, the Emerald Forest is where you will be tested on whether or not you are ready for the burdens of a person who studies, learns to become a hunter. Ashbin finished, before making way for Glinda. I'm sure most of you have heard rumors about team assignments. And I'm here to confirm said rumors. Glinda paused momentarily and quickly glanced at Rwby, who seemed a little uneasy, before continuing what she was saying. Each of you will be assigned teammates today. Murmurs arose among the students, wondering how this would proceed. Beside them was a crimson rose. What the? Oh, Rwby groaned at this unexpected prospect, then thought to herself about her currently absent husband. What's taking him so long? He should be back by now. I hope he hasn't gotten into trouble. These teammates will be with you for the rest of your time here at Beacon, so it should be in your best interest to be paired with someone you could work well with. Ashbin advised the students. He took a sip from his cup of hot chocolate, and then proceeded to look at the aspiring hunters. Yang looked at her sister, who proceeded to whine some more, and gave her a reassuring thumbs up, earning her a small smile in return. Ashbin continued his speech. That being said, for this year's initiation, the first person you make eye contact with after landing will be your partner for the next 4 years. See? I told you, Nora said to Rin, who only gave his response in the form of a hum. After you've teamed up, you must head towards the northern edge of the forest. And along the way, you will encounter opposition. Remember this, do not hesitate to destroy everything in your path or you will die. And with that, Ashbin continued his encouraging speech. John let out a short, nervous laugh and gulped, while Nora had an overly happy look on her face that could be considered life-threatening. Of course, that only made John even more nervous. You will be monitored and graded for the duration of the initiation, but our instructors will not intervene. You will find an abandoned temple at the end of the path containing several relics. Each pair must choose one and return to the cliff top. And once you do, your test will be over. Are there any questions? John raised a hand. Yes, sir? I have a question, he said nervously. Good. Now everyone, prepare your landing strategy, Ashbin instructed. Everyone took their own positions, except John, who still has his hand raised. Sir? He repeated. I have a question. He spoke, hoping to be heard this time, not noticing Weiss being launched into the air by the Tau beneath her, with others following suit. So, about this landing strategy thing, what is it? Are you, carrying us or something? No, you're going to fall, Ashbin replied indifferently. Oh, okay, John said, still not understanding what the principal was saying, and still oblivious to what was happening around him. Did you, hand out parachutes or something? Jaya ha ha ha. Nora laughed excitedly as she was launched into the air. No, you'll use your landing strategy, Ashbin told the blonde boy while Glinda gave John a calculating look as the next student, Ren, jumped in. Yeah? John said, still unsure and clueless. He thought to himself, maybe I should ask more clearly. While she was thinking, Yang, a few students away from John, was getting ready and winked at her sister, earning her a thumbs up and putting on her aviator glasses before being thrown. Woof H! Yang screamed as she was launched, followed by her sister, who was ready for takeoff. So, how are we falling? John began, only to be interrupted by being thrown off the cliff. Ashbin took a sip from his cup before answering. With style. Of course, this earned him a blank stare from his faithful subordinate. Hello? Anyone there? Hello? Yang, after maneuvering through various obstacles using her shooting gauntlets, Ember Celica, and landing, was now combing the forest for a partner. She was happy to partner with almost anyone, and she loved teaming up with her sister. Though she knew it would be best if they didn't pair up, for Rwby's sake. Rwby had been improving, but Yang would rather have her meet new people. Then again, it would be a lot easier for us if we became partners, she thought to herself, before hearing a rustling in the bushes behind her. Who's there? She approached the bushes to take a look. "Rwby, is that you?" she asked before hearing an inhuman growl, prompting her to look up. "Nope. Not Rwby." She was then forced to roll to the side as Ursa, a bear-like Grim, took off, charged at her, and tried to bite her. Yang righted herself and activated Ember Celica before feeling another Ursa attack her from behind. She flipped back over Ursa number 2, as she quickly named it in her head, to dodge a switch from Ursa number 1, while unleashing a fiery punch at Uno. Unt was attempting another charge, but Yang countered by absorbing its blow and landing multiple successive punches before finishing with a kick that sent him flying backward. "You guys haven't seen a girl in a red hoodie, have you? You know, about this tall, has black hair with red tips, and is probably in the middle of a madhouse right now," she asked, only to receive a couple of grunts in response. "Rude. You could have just said no." One of Ursa's slashed at her a couple of times, only for Yang to dodge them all and laugh. "Ah, geez! You two couldn't possibly hit the broad side of a BA dash." She started, mockingly actually, only to stop when she noticed a strand of her hair fall in front of her face and land on the ground. His fist began to shake with rage as his eyes began to glow a bloody red. "Monsters!" he screamed, as a shroud of fire took over his form and he began to unleash a barrage of furious disasters. She approached the nearest Ursa and urged it to deliver one devastating fire-infused blow after another, before finishing with a powerful slash that sent it flying through several trees. She then proceeded to charge at the remaining Ursa and was forced to jump to avoid a high blow aimed at her face. Seeing an opening, she quickly squeezed through and leaped once more, this time landing on the Ursa's back. She wrapped her legs around its neck before mercilessly bashing its skull. Suddenly, a voice from behind a tree said, "Wow, you really like your hair, huh?" "What? You want a part of me too?" Yang yelled, still full of adrenaline pumping his blood. "I hope that temper isn't a common occurrence. It would be really hard to deal with for the next 4 years," the voice said, sounding slightly amused, before its owner appeared, revealing Blake Belladonna, the girl with the bun from last night. Yang, after calming down, laughed shyly before looking at his new partner. "Hey hee, it's good to see you again. And looks like we're partners now, huh?" Blake simply raised an amused eyebrow. "Indeed." Elsewhere in the Emerald Forest. "Okay, I have to find Yang, I have to find Yang, I have to find Yang," Rwby muttered to herself as she made her way through the trees. "Though I guess teaming up with Blake wouldn't be so bad, she's so mysterious and calm and collected, but I'm not sure I could hold a conversation with her. There's John, but he seems kind of lanky and not very good at fighting. And there's Pyrrha, she seems nice, though I don't know her that well. And who else? Yang, John, Blake, Pyrrha, and..." Her train of thought was suddenly derailed when something slammed into her from above. As she shook the cobwebs from her head and cleared her vision, she found herself staring into the icy blue eyes of one Weiss Schnee, who was straddling her waist with a look of surprise on his face. "Weiss," Rwby thought as Weiss slowly climbed off her, "this is going to be a difficult partnership." There was a moment of silence between the two, before Weiss turned and walked in the other direction, seemingly unconcerned with the pairing rule. However, just as Weiss moved a few feet away from Rwby, a resounding cacophony of grunts was heard coming from her left side. There, hidden behind the tree line, was a pack of Beowulfs, intent on making lunch with Weiss. But of course, all their growling caught the attention of the woman in white and the Scarlet Lady. "Looks like we're stuck together, huh?" Rwby said as she unfolded crescent rows and took a stance. "It would seem so. You'd better not stop me," Weiss said as she readied Murdenaster, her rapier, while preparing a glyph. "I wouldn't dream of it." With that, the two began the potential massacre. "Are you sure about this?" Pyrrhanikos, the redhead who was talking to Weiss that morning, asked John, as they walked through a dark cave lit only by John's makeshift torch, with John leading the way, as common sense dictates. Pyrrha was a tall person, standing at 6 feet tall in heels. She has vibrant green eyes, pale creamy skin, and red hair styled in a loose, slightly curled ponytail. She wore a 2-layer top. The top layer was a vertically split light brown strapless top with some bronze patterns. The bottom layer was a low bronze v-neck. She also wore a stretchy red A-line miniskirt, opera-length brown gloves on both arms, and an ankle-length red sash wrapped around her skirt. She also has a small circular bronze plate on the right side of her hip connected to her belt that bears her spear and shield emblem. Beneath her hair is a brown circlet adorned with a pair of small, teardrop-shaped emeralds on thin chains. She also wore a large bronze gorget around her neck, a bronze armband on the upper half of her left arm, and elaborate bronze greaves that begin below her thigh and connect to her boots. "Right now?" John said nervously, as he looked at the cave walls. "No, not really." "Why don't we go back then?" she suggested, looking at the cave entrance behind them, before speaking once more without turning around. "And I don't think this is the right location. It strays too far from the north." John probably would have insisted on searching, going deeper into the cave, but the numerous red eyes seemingly staring at them made him agree with Pyrrha's suggestion, though he couldn't voice it due to his fear. Pyrrha, noticing John's lack of response, turned to him to ask again before noticing the many red eyes. "Run and live?" John would have said something about how brilliant that idea was, but it seemed like fear was crippling his ability to speak. However, she managed a small squeak of agreement. Lyran, after finishing a couple of King Taijutsu, was now leisurely strolling through the forest with his pair of submachine guns, called Stormflower, in hand. Then a strange sound came from a nearby tree. Wooloo! He would have tensed and braced himself if it weren't for the fact that he knew that voice. "I don't think that's what a sloth sounds like, Nora," Ren drawled, a small smile on his face as the culprit made herself known. "By hanging upside down from a branch and picking her nose, of course." "Boop!" Ren reciprocated the action, the smile still on his face. "Yeah, boop to you too." Of course, he missed the slight blush on his best friend's face. After watching Rwby massacre, slaughter a pack of Beowulfs with ease, Weiss reluctantly admitted to herself that this bumbling idiot had talent. However, she did wonder about that strange glowing ring. "See? We did well together. Maybe being paired up wasn't such a bad thing, huh?" Unaware that she was being tested, Rwby was excited to show her new partner that she was very capable of carrying her own weight. "And you were amazing! Everyone said wawa, hiya, and schling/schling. You're so cool out there." Caught off guard by the sudden, albeit oddly worded praise, Weiss blushed, but it was quickly covered by a haughty look and a condescending reply. "Of course I was. I am, after all, quite skilled in the use of my rapier, Murdernaster, and my appearance." She was going to end it like this, before noticing Rwby's face, which resembled a puppy waiting for a treat. "You weren't too careless. Perhaps we can salvage this partnership after all." Apparently, that was what Rwby had hoped, because she smiled so brightly that it made Weiss return a small smile. "Do you really think so?" she asked a little meekly, just a little, still not quite used to Weiss's presence. Still with a small smile, Weiss replied, a little arrogantly, "Perhaps, so don't make me regret trusting you and your ability. Of course, don't mistake this partnership for friendship, okay?" she finished with a level look. Rwby's expression dimmed slightly, before it immediately brightened. "I'll win your friendship with my winning personality. Sooner or later, we'll be best friends, just like my husband said we would be. However, where's that dink?" "Somewhere in the Pure Lands." "Achoo! Those clones better hurry. Rwby's getting worried," Naruto muttered to himself as he prepared a large scroll. Then he smiled. "However, I hope you like my surprise." "You're whipped, aren't you?" "Don't answer that, because I know you are." "Ha! Wait until I tell Kushina about this." A deep, powerful voice laughed. Naruto gave the voice a middle finger. "Fuck you, Kurama, go to hell." "We don't have a hell, idiot." "Right. Anyway, since when are you friends with Mom? I thought you hated her." "I am not friends with that hairless monkey. I just find her more fun to talk to compared to my crazy brothers, that's all." "Yeah, sure, buddy. So what are you two gossiping friends talking about?" "Weren't you listening to me, you insolent pup? We're not friends." "Of course you're not." "So?" "Then I heard from Kushina, who heard from Mikoto, who heard from Izuna, that apparently Madara Looks like we're one of the first to arrive, Yang said as she and Blake looked around the ruins. I wonder if Rwby's arrived here yet. It seems so, was Blake's simple reply. You're quite the talker, aren't you? Yang was met with silence and a blank stare. She coughed into her hand to mask her amusement. That proves me right. You don't mind if I take a cute little pony, do you? Sure, go ahead. Blake was startled, the blank stare replaced by mild amusement. Then she thought of something that had been bothering her ever since she saw it. What about your sister's ring? If you don't mind me asking. She seems to take good care of it. Is it a family heirloom? Wow, that's the longest sentence I've ever heard you say. But no, that's not a family heirloom. It is important though, she said jokingly at first, before noticing Blake's creepy yellow-eyed stare and correcting her tone. How so? She was curious, not because she was interested in the story behind the ring, no. She was interested in the reason why a seemingly clumsy girl like Rwby had received that ring. It seemed very precious and expensive. It's a gift. And that's all Yang said, before thinking to herself, someone else asked that question. She'll probably be surprised by the reason too. Why are they so surprised? Hunters tend to have shorter lifespans. Blake realized Yang wouldn't tell her the reason, so she remained silent. That silence stretched for a couple of moments before Yang asked another question. Do you mind if we wait here a little longer? Yang shook her head in response. However, it wasn't long before someone disturbed the sound of silence once again. Aya! Hello? Charge forward, my mighty steed! Charge! Jaya ha ha ha! The ever-eccentric Nora said as she rode on top of a large Ursa, before accidentally hitting it with Manghild, a combination warhammer and grenade launcher, that she was swinging around. Oh, it's broken! Then, a second voice was heard, this one seemingly breathless. Nora! Please don't do that again. Ever. It was the girl's friend, Lyran. He looked around and noticed his companion was gone once again. Ugh, that girl is going to be the death of me, I know it. Oh, Nora said, now at the temple and starting with a golden tower relic before sliding it and began signing. Ha! I'm the queen of the castle. I'm the queen of the castle. Nora! Here comes Run! Nora said as she jumped towards her exhausted-looking companion. Probably from dealing with that girl's antics. Blake thought to herself, before noticing the figurative elephant in the room, her ruins. Wait, did that girl just ride an Ursa? I dash. Yang was about to reply, before being interrupted by a loud scream. Run for your lives! John said, appearing out of nowhere along with Piral, while fleeing from two large Grim and a small pack of Beelwolves, a Deathstalker, a huge scorpion-like Grim, and an Evermore, a giant crow-like creature. Did those two just run all the way here with all those women chasing them? Blake asked, his eyes wide and shocked, but he quickly recovered for the conflict to come. I dash. Yang tried to answer once more, but was interrupted by something that distracted him. And by that, he meant a Grim is about to attack someone, John, and that someone isn't prepared distracting. Luckily for John, a giant red and black scythe swiftly slashed through the Grim, a Beowulf, with a pair of red rose petals floating in, saving his life. Then, the owner's voice called out. Looks like we're just in time, huh, Weiss? Without waiting for a response, Rwby Rose quickly dealt with the monstrous werewolves along with everyone else, who began attacking after hearing Rwby speak. Unknown to everyone else, Rwby was talking to someone who in her opinion is in trouble. What took you so long? Naruto tried to explain himself before Rwby interrupted him. Did you know how worried I was? I thought you were in some kind of trouble when you didn't come back this morning. You said you'd only be a couple of hours. You took almost a day. A day. You could have at least warned me. What do you have to say for yourself, sir? Rwby finished with a mental glare directed at her husband. You didn't check your scroll, did you? Naruto asked. So I did. The paw on your left. The paper-like scroll? She clarified, as she hooked the side blade into the Beowulf's neck and pulled the trigger, launching herself backward along with a severed Grim head. We really need to give them different names, Rwby told him, unaware that a big bad Beowulf was stalking towards the Red Riding Hooded Reaper. Naruto was about to warn her, but someone shouted faster. To your right! Yang suddenly shouted, before leaping towards her sister and onto the Beowulf. She grabbed its neck with her legs before aiming Ember Celica's head and firing. The giant heavy wolf was now a giant heavy carcass falling to the ground. Thanks, sis! Rwby shouted before securing the fray once more. She then realized that the two most dangerous Grimm on the field were preparing to attack and the dwindling numbers of the pack were getting closer. Everyone! Regroup! How did you manage to get the attention of so many Grimm in the first place? Weiss asked irritably. Who wouldn't be? Second day of school and your life is already in danger. Less talking, more fighting! Yang shouted as she headed towards her sister. She had to cover a few Beowulfs before reaching the place. Any plans, sis? After everyone gathered, Rwby spoke. Yes. Weiss, can you immobilize the Deathstalker? Weiss sneered. That's simply child's play. She then readied her rapier and made an ice glyph appear beneath the giant scorpion and froze some of its legs. Done. Fine. Yang, you're with me. Nora, do you think you can come with us to break some legs with that hammer? Rwby asked as she readied her scythe. Breaking legs is what Manghild and I live for! Nora exclaimed as she, Yang, and Rwby charged at the temporarily immobilized Deathstalker. Let's give them back up, guys. Weiss, Blake, let's take out the remaining Beowulfs. Rin, Pyrrha, fire at the Nevermore to keep it distracted. Let's go! John said as he readied his sword and shield, Crochet Moors, and began attacking the humanoid Grimm with the help of Blake and Weiss. Weiss was slashing fiercely yet gracefully at the enemies, remaining as graceful as ever. However, she was annoyed that someone dared to order her around. You better pray we survive this arc, or I'll. She was cut off when she was forced to dodge a charging Grimm. He then spun around, created a glyph to boost his speed, and launched himself at the offending Grimm, impaling him with Murdernaster. TCH, that's what you get. Talk to his corpse later, Shni. We still have some Beowulfs to deal with. Blake slashed at a Beowulf with her blade sheath while shooting another with Gamble Shroud, her pistol/katana. She had to dodge to the side as a Beowulf attempted a slash. She leaped back and doubled over Gamble Shroud before attaching her headband to him, creating a makeshift chain sickle. She then swung her weapon above her head before slashing at every enemy available to her, also known as a Beowulf. Of course, this only irritated Shni, to whom she sent a smile. Before anyone could question why she didn't do that at first, Pyrrha shouted. A little help would be great, guys. John quickly gave orders. Blake and Rin, shoot down that bird. Come on, Weiss, let's help kill a giant scorpion. Of course, this irritated Weiss a little, though she didn't voice it this time. As they approached the trio, they could hear Rwby giving orders to Nora and Yang. Remove your claws, Yang. Try shooting the stinger, Nora. I'll try to sever a limb or four. She then moved in close and began slashing at legs and claws while avoiding the attacks of the now free but now slowed Deathstalker. I understand. Roger, Roger. Yang and Nora responded as they followed the given orders. Nora jumped away from the scorpion and transformed her Manghild warhammer into a grenade launcher and began firing rounds at the stinger while avoiding friendly fire. Yang, meanwhile, ran towards the Grimm while moving left and right to avoid its attack. When she got close enough, she jumped onto its shell and unleashed a barrage of fire-fueled, forced rage-induced, and bullet-infused punches. Need help, Rwby? John asked when he and Weiss were in Ruby's hearing range. Yeah. Do you mind freezing the tail, partner? Rwby asked as she successfully severed a claw along with 3 legs. You're welcome. And so she did, using Murdernaster and making an ice glyph right behind the Deathstalker with the remaining ice dust. It's done, Rwby! You'd better hurry, though. That won't last long. Not even a week old and they're working so well together, like a well-oiled machine. Naruto thought, observing everyone, taking in their fighting styles and assessing their skills. They're better than the old Team 7. I hope being Hokage gives Sasuke white hair. Rwby, unaware of her husband's thoughts but aware of his joy, replied to Weiss. Understood. Nora, hit his mask. Yang, get out of there! She then went after the Grim itself, being one of the few in the group to do so quickly, and immediately deployed crescent rows and began unloading a barrage of high-caliber bullets into the frozen tail segment. Yang, tired of being motionless for a while, shouted, "What now?" Before Rwby, who was still firing at the Deathstalker, albeit subconsciously, could shout a reply, the tail broke off and fell towards the Grim's weakened and cracked mask, thanks to Yang and Nora, resulting in the things dying at the same time as Pyrrha, Blake, and Min disposed of the Nevermore. Then everyone went silent, except for Nora's humming, as she happily jumped towards the Deathstalker's corpse and then proceeded to touch it, saying, "Touch," each time she did so. "That happened?" John said, trying to ease the tense silence a bit. "Crazy second day of school, huh?" "Aw, it went poof." "Nora, not now, please."
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.